Let me gaze beyond the stars. Let me see what life is like on Jupiter and Mars. Hi YouTube, welcome back to We Sibs, West Coast, East Coast siblings. I think I've been doing this E backwards because I'll oh no, this way is right. You guys, today we are talking about Fly Me to the Moon, which is just snazzy, okay? Not the movie, the song. I'm gonna read the description just so we have a clear understanding on what the premise of the movie is, because believe it or not, a little hard to nail down even after having seen it. Okay. During the 1960s space race between the United States and the Soviet Union, a relationship develops between the NASA director in charge of the Apollo 11 launch and the marketing specialist brought in to fix NASA's public image and stage a backup fake moon landing. I'm gonna give you a quick breakdown of what the story's about, and then we'll get into what I actually thought. Yeah, so I think you get lost in the story a little bit. You know, it's a great movie, actually. It's really sweet, very charming, it's very smooth, which is great. They pack a lot of information in the amount of time. It also feels a little long, not gonna lie. To me, it's like, okay, is it a rom-com? Is it a drama? Is it some sort of fake history movie kind of thing? I don't know, but let's get into it. First thing I noticed, literally the first thing, is Channing Tatum. Guys, he's pretty, but he can't act. Oh, woo! His first couple lines in the movie are like, a little rough to get through. That being said, he's very likable, very charming in the movie, even though he's quite disgruntled and angry. And they give him actually like interestingly weighted backstory. And I say interestingly weighted because it's not just your stereotypical, oh, my heart was broken, or I made a mistake and I can never do this again, I'm running away from it. For him, it's like, I made a mistake with the Apollo 1 mission and I'm doing everything I can in this mission to make sure that it goes well, because I really, really care about those men who are out there risking their lives. So it's like, okay, I can appreciate that. I think Scarlett Johansson did an exceptional job. I just think she's such a good actress, and I think it would be like a little ridiculous for me to say she should get an Oscar nomination for this, but I think her portrayal of her character, especially for a period piece, was really solid and very believable. So I personally enjoyed watching her performance. I think she did great. Now, there was a moment where she tried to do a Louisiana accent. It was like a little cringy. She fit the role really well. She looked great in all of her outfits. She's a gem. So let's get back into the story for a second. We know that the story is not real, right? There's so many things that are like just obviously fake about it, but I think it's really cute how they try to tackle the question of, was the moon landing real? Especially because there was a huge thing about that in like the news and social media in the last couple of years on the moon landing being. I choose to be Switzerland. Actually, no, I choose to believe that we landed on the moon. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I want that to be true. Story issue, a couple of them. So one, Scarlett Johansson, her character was weird. Like, they kept hinting at this sordid, messy past, and then like not really acknowledging it, and then pretending that it wasn't a thing, like, oh, that we said that 45 minutes ago, that's not relevant, and then like bringing it up again. But it didn't feel intentional. It just felt a little all over the place. And then when we finally do learn what her past is, it's like, what the heck? Spoiler alert. Her mom shot a man and went to jail and she never saw him again. Yeah, so that was really weird. It just took like a really weird dark turn, and it's like, well, you've never seen your mom since then. Like, I don't know, that was like really weird to me, very jarring. Obvious that she's a con artist, like that's what she does and that's where she came from, but they kept making it seem like it was more than that, and like it really wasn't. Another thing that I thought was, I don't know if this was good or just odd, was Woody Harrelson, another great actor, but like he was so creepy, and he, I guess, represents President Nixon. There were a lot of things in the story where it was like, we're not gonna say what this is, but we're gonna imply what it is, but you don't know what it is. Like, it was odd. Anyway, Woody Harrelson's character is the mysterious big brother who comes in and out and is ultimately the bad guy in trying to put up a fake version of the moon landing in order to CYA NASA just in case something goes wrong with the actual mission, which of course Channing and Scarlett and their little team of vagabonds ultimately trying to actually put the real moon landing on. And so it's like, oh, it actually did happen, the moon landing did happen, and even if there's information about this fake thing, we actually saw what landed on the moon. So I don't know, I thought it was interesting to tackle that question. Another thing that I thought was strange was Channing Tatum. Okay, he's heartbroken about Apollo 1. He feels guilty about it. But then he goes to the gravesite and plants flowers every night. I don't understand. does NASA not have a gardener? It was just like a little odd. And I was like, oh, you know, he goes out there every couple months. But no, I'm pretty sure Scarlett Johansson's character asks Ray Romano, why does he go out there every night? And Ray Romano's like, oh, he's gardening. So this man goes out there every night and plants new flowers. What? Maybe I misheard something. Let me know in the comments. Another thing that threw me off was the costume design. Period pieces are great. The best period costumes are done when you're like, this is what they looked like. And for me, the costume design was a little on the nose with Channing. It's like, okay, all of your other employees are in white button-down or light color button-down shirts, and you're in these primary color sweaters that are not exactly turtlenecks, they're mock necks. And it seems like they're varying in thickness. Sometimes we can see your undershirt underneath, sometimes we can't. And the undershirt underneath was very like jarring and distracting from the movie and the story overall, because I was like, what is going on with this man's clothes? I get it, you're the director, so you're special, so you wear something completely different than what everyone else is wearing. I don't know, the costume design was a little lacking. Maybe that's me just being a snob. As one might expect, there were a lot of cheesy moments in the film that I think were supposed to be funny, but were just kind of cringy. There were a lot of cringy moments, to be honest. The meet cute. You see, we see in the trailer the, oh, you're on fire. Oh, okay, whatever. But the second half of that, you guys, is like, oh, like hardcore cringe, like, ooh. I'm gonna spoil it for you. Basically, Channing like does this whole you're on fire thing, and she asks him something about his work, and he's like, actually, I don't want to talk about my work, and then walks out. And it's like, oh, okay. But then a few minutes later, he comes back and is like, actually, you're really pretty, and I just didn't know how to talk to you, and then he walks out again. It was rough. I was like, Lord. I don't think that Scarlett and Channing had much chemistry. Not really. I mean, I think she's a really good actress, and I think he's charming. Like, they were watchable, and the movie was fine, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, these two are hot. It was not that. But I don't know, maybe that's part of it, because the movie didn't feel a lot like a rom-com. Like, it felt like a bit of an early 2000s rom-com in that there was some good solid storytelling going on. Sorry, I just wiped my nose. I didn't. It just had an itch. There's no snoogies in there. Anyway, I also am going to talk about the audience for this movie. It was a lot of older people, like sweet older couples for like a little date night. And I had seen this with friends, and they were like, oh, it's probably because they were alive during the moon landing, so they just kind of wanted to see how the story was told. It's like, what an interesting observation, because I think that's true. I think the movie appeals to younger people when there's nothing better to watch, but I think for old people, they'll truly enjoy it because it was sweet and lighthearted. There are lots of inconsistencies in the storyline, but the one that stood out the most to me, spoiler alert, is when the two of them get on a plane and fly to talk to the governor of Louisiana. They had a falling out. It was a pretty big falling out, and then she's walking in the rain, and all of a sudden Channing comes out of nowhere and he's like, oh, let's get on a plane. I'm like, what, you're friends now? And I think the writing tries to save it when she says something like, oh, this is your idea of an apology, but he never actually apologizes for whatever the two of them had argued about before. So that was a little jarring. Then they get on a plane, and like, she doesn't like to fly, and they're just in a plane and they fly to Louisiana. Like, it's a cute idea, but it like needed a little bit more fleshing out. There needed to be more clarity in terms of like what the heck is happening. I think that was like supposed to be an important moment in their romantic story, but it completely fell flat. Anyway, you guys, that is all I have on Fly Me to the Moon. Thank you so much for watching. As always, click this video if you like this video, comment, subscribe, and click the bell if you want to see more stuff from me and my brother, maybe one day soon. Thanks so much. Bye.